Hello guys, welcome to another video on the channel. Today we got our game week 4 Premier League score predictions. Going into this game week, the guests are on 18, I'm on 16 and Jamie is in the lead with 22 points. Our guest today is Jake from Football Fancy. Big shout out to him, link in the description, and let's get into it. Southampton against Manchester United, both picking up surprising 2-1 wins against Man U oppositions Liverpool, and Southampton away at Leicester. So that's brilliant results for both of them. I think Man U's one was more of a shock, which is why I'm going to go for a United win. I'm going to go Southampton 0, Man United 2.
Starting off with the 12:30 game on Saturday at St Mary's, Southampton v Man U. Man U played brilliantly against Liverpool, and Southampton, a great win for them away at Leicester. Che Adams looking really good at the moment. I think it's going to be quite of a close game, but I think Man U are just going to have a bit too much quality, and I think they're going to get a couple goals in the second half. So I'm going to go Southampton 1, Man United 3.
Yes lads, it is Jake from the Football Fan Scene, and in today's video we are on J&J's Footy Vlogs channel, and I'll be predicting the Premier League scores for game week 4. I think it's game week 4, might be 3, I think it is 4. Starting off with the lunchtime kickoff, Southampton take on Manchester United at St Mary's. United unreal last week, blowing away Liverpool. Southampton as well getting an unexpected win at Leicester. It's certainly going to be a very, very good contest. I do fancy United to win it though. Now they've got that bounce, but they have to perform to the extent they did against Liverpool. I'm going to say 2-0 Man United.
Moving on now, Brighton against Leeds, both getting surprising wins in the first 3 fixtures. Obviously Leeds smashing Chelsea 3-0, and United away for Brighton, them getting a 2-1 win there. So I'm going to go for a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Moving on to the next game is at the Amex, Brighton v Leeds. Leeds looked really good against Chelsea, and Brighton played really well against West Ham. West Ham were poor, but I still think they were good. This should be a really close game in my opinion, and I don't think any team's going to win it. So I'm going to go Brighton 1, Leeds 1.
Now, Jesse Marsh's Leeds United have had an unreal start to the season, find themselves in the top 4 going into this round of fixtures. They travelled to Graham Potter's Brighton on the weekend, which is never going to be an easy game. However, I do fancy Leeds. I'm going to say 1-1.
Brentford against Everton now. Both teams playing a newly promoted team in the last match week, and both teams failing to win. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go Brentford 1, Everton 1.
Moving on to the 3 o'clocks, starting off at Brentford, it's Brentford v Everton. That's a massive game in my opinion. Brentford could probably take a point, but Everton have really got to pick up some points quickly. I know they got a late equaliser against Forest, but still not enough for where they should be. But Everton are very desperate for a win, so I'm going to go Brentford 1, Everton 2.
Brentford versus Everton's going to be another very, very tough one to call. Brentford starting the season very well with that 4-0 win over United, of course. Everton, they haven't been too bad, but they need forwards who can score goals. They don't have that at the minute. Rondon ain't good enough. There's rumours Neil Maupay may be joining. He'd be a very, very good signing. For the game on Saturday at the Brentford Community Stadium, I'm going to say 1-0 to Brentford.
Chelsea against Leicester, both getting disappointing results in the last game week. Obviously Leicester losing to Southampton at home, and Chelsea getting battered by Leeds. So I'm going to go for a slight Chelsea win, 2-1.
Moving on to the next game is at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea v Leicester. Chelsea lost 3-0 to Leeds, and Leicester lost 2-1 to Southampton. I don't think Chelsea are going to walk over Leicester here, but I think they are going to get the win. Leicester just not looking good at all at the moment, so I'm going to go Chelsea 1, Leicester 0.
Now, Saturday 3 p.m. at the Bridge, it's Chelsea versus Leicester. Leicester have had an underwhelming start to the season and find themselves right down the bottom of the table. They have a very tough trip to Stamford Bridge next. I don't think it's going to be very good for them. Wesley Fofana, of course, is linked with a move to Chelsea, so it'll be a doubt that he plays the game. I say Chelsea are going to win it comfortably. I'm going to say 2-0.
Moving on to disappointing Liverpool against Bournemouth. Obviously, Liverpool haven't been up to it. Awful form. Their players aren't playing the way the fans want them to play. They got loads of injuries. But I will back them in this one because Bournemouth did just get battered by Arsenal. So I'm going to go Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 0.
Moving on to the next game was at Anfield between Liverpool and Bournemouth. Liverpool obviously lost to Man U on Monday night and they have to bounce back. They just can't draw or lose any more games. They have to win this. So I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0.
Now, Liverpool need to respond after that drumming at Manchester United. They were way off it. They welcome a Bournemouth side to Anfield who've got battered by City, battered by Arsenal, just about got past Championship Norwich in the Carabao Cup, winning on penalties. Liverpool aren't going to struggle. If they do, then they'll be in big trouble, because if they are going to excel and go towards the top of the league and challenge the likes of Manchester City, then they've got to be winning games like this. I'm going to say 3-0 Liverpool.
Off to the Etihad, the champions Manchester City take on Crystal Palace. Not getting the win last time at Manchester City. 3-3 draw against Newcastle, but they were 3-1 down, so fair play to them for coming back there. But Palace, they're in great form. They won at City last season, which was surprising, and they just beat Villa 3-1 at home. So I will go for a City win, but I'm going to go City 3, Palace 2.
Next game's at the Etihad, Man City v my boys Crystal Palace. We beat Villa last time in the league and beat Oxford in the cup on Tuesday. They look good, Palace, to be honest, but unfortunately, I do think City are going to have too much quality. I don't think it's going to be a thrashing, but I just think they're going to have too much. So I'm going to go City 2, Palace 0.
Now, Manchester City versus Crystal Palace on paper looks like Manchester City can steamroll Patrick Vieira's blue and red army. However, we all know when Crystal Palace go to the Etihad, something special happens. We saw it last season with Conor Gallagher's strike and Ross Townsend's worldie a couple years ago. I'm not sure what it's going to be like this year, if I'm honest. My gut's going to tell me that Manchester City are going to win that game 2-1.
Moving on to my club Arsenal, we take on newly promoted Fulham. There should be a walk in the park, although Fulham do look good. They're 7th in the league, just beating Brentford, who are on good form. So it will be tough, but I do back us. I'm going Arsenal 3, Fulham 1.
Moving on to the 5:30 game, Arsenal v Fulham. Fulham beat Brentford 3-2 last time. And Arsenal beat Bournemouth 3-0. Both teams coming in with good form. But unfortunately, I do think Fulham's unbeaten run is going to come to an end here. Arsenal just looking brilliant at the moment. All of the players are looking brilliant, especially Gabriel Jesus. I'm not going to go for a thrashing. I'm going to go Arsenal 2, Fulham 0.
So the 5:30 game in the Premier League is 100% record Arsenal, who've won all 3 games, top of the league, as they welcome Marco Silva's Fulham to the Emirates Stadium, who were surprisingly unbeaten with a shock draw against Liverpool, a draw against Wolves and a win against Brentford. Arsenal, I think, will have the better of this game, although Fulham will not be an easy side to play against. I'm going to say Arsenal are going to win this 2-0.
Villa against West Ham. Both teams disappointing start to the season. Obviously, West Ham sitting bottom with 0 goals scored. But they did find some form in Europe, beating Freiburg 3-0 away. So I do back West Ham in this one. I'm going to go Villa 0, West Ham 1.
Moving on to the next game is at Villa Park, Aston Villa v West Ham. In my opinion, both teams, I'd call this a must-win game. Villa really got to bounce back after their performance against Palace, and West Ham, bottom of the league with 0 points, and need to bounce back against their loss to Brighton. So both teams are really going to need to push to win this game, but I don't think either of them are. I'm going to go Villa 1, West Ham United 1.
Now on to Sunday's games as Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa welcome West Ham. Steven Gerrard is under immense pressure. We saw him start a full strength side of Bolton in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. They did end up winning that, but he is under a lot of pressure at Villa Park to get points. West Ham have started the season very poorly, although it's only been 3 games. All I can see, a very boring game. I'm going to say 0-0.
Wolves against Newcastle now. I think this is going to be completely one-sided. Newcastle, they're on really good form. Obviously, a point against the champions, Manchester City, is ridiculous because City's team is so strong compared to Newcastle's team. So, I'm going to go Wolves 1, Newcastle 4.
Moving on to the game at Molineux is Wolves v Newcastle. Newcastle looking really good on the weekend with a great point against Man City. Wolves lost 1-0 to Spurs. I think they could have got some from the game. Spurs weren't at their best. I think this can be another close game for both teams, but I'm going to go with a Newcastle win. 2-1 I'm going to go for Newcastle. I think Newcastle are playing really well at the moment, and I think if they keep going, they could potentially be around the Europa Conference League spots.
Wolves versus Newcastle. We saw Newcastle last week give Manchester City a very, very good game, drawing 3-3 at St James's Park in an absolute thriller. I'm going to say that Newcastle are going to go to Molineux and nick it 1-0.
The last game now is Nottingham Forest against Spurs. Forest, a point at Everton. It's not bad. They are gelling, that Forest team, and we'll see it as the season progresses. But Spurs are too strong at the moment. I think they will win, Spurs. I'm going to go Forest 0, Spurs 2.
And moving on to the final game of the weekend is at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest against Tottenham. Forest, a good point against Everton, but Everton did score a late goal, so they won't be overly pleased, but still a good point. And Tottenham, as I said before, they beat Wolves, so both teams coming in with decent form. But unfortunately, this time, I just think Spurs are going to have a little bit too much quality. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I'm going to go Forest 0, Spurs 1.
And the final game of this round of fixtures comes on Sunday at 4:30 as Nottingham Forest welcome Spurs. I think it's going to be Spurs who are going to dominate a lot of the ball. Forest will sit back, but they have a very, very good squad. A lot of people are underestimating them just because they came up from the Championship. But they've made about 20 signings. A lot of them can play in the Premier League. The likes of Morgan Gibbs-White, as well as Jesse Lingard as well. I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm going to say 1-1. So, those were my predictions for the game week 4 of the Premier League. Hope you all enjoyed them. Hope I got them right. And we'll see you in the next video, either on this channel or on the Football Fantasy channel.
Thank you guys for watching, and obviously a massive shout out to Jake at the Football Fantasy channel. Link in the description below, as said in the intro. Until next time, see you guys.